I think the way we are right now on on this earthly plane, I believe we're all moving towards that in some form or another. I think we'll all be intuitives with the gift of insight and intuition, and this is a means to develop that, right? But I think we're moving in that way. At some point, it's not going to be individualized. I think it's going to be a collection of people, and in that, your vibration raises, right? And you can receive more information and shift out of that old ego and oppressed energy, right? Fear and...
So one of the things that I've been getting in my classes was the idea that our thoughts are the first part of our manifestation, and we usually pull thoughts in from vibrations that we're comfortable with. And so there's a basic human vibration that exists of human thoughts, human experiences that we pull from. And so what you're seeing now is that as more of these experiences are being manifested by people coming in, more of this psychic openness and open consciousness and being open to these ideas is present within the human consciousness. So more people are starting to get these insights and pulling it in because they're pulling from a basic human consciousness, but this has been added to that. So in a sense that as you elevate yourself, you're adding to the human consciousness experience. It makes it easier for somebody else to connect to that in the same way. So it's interesting. So you're, in a way, you're raising the vibration of humanity towards this more open consciousness.
Oh, I love that.
So
I'm contributing to
the whole,
opening that energy to the higher, because I really believe that's empowerment. It really is. To be able to go within and know truth, know what's right for you is empowerment. It really is. And I have to say, this gift of intuition and insight has really just broadened my perspective on life in so many ways. So it really is an incredible tool. But like you said, what happens is when people use that gift, and it has to be all about everybody else. I need to read this person, I need to make money, and I need to do this way. It becomes, like you said, outside. So so the work that they're doing separates from this internal work, right? And I've always said that you cannot do work like this without working on yourself. Like it goes hand in hand, right?
Absolutely.
The more inquisitive I am, the more I want to know, the more clients I attract who will be able to challenge me in those areas, and then I learn, and then more people come because now that's information to share. So it has to go back and forth. The trap is people who fall into it and ignore their own journey and pull themselves outside, and it's like, well, I have to heal this person, I have to fix this person, I have to save this person because I have this gift. That's the fine line I think that people create with burnout. And
but what they're doing is now they're externalizing it. It's about other people. It's not about them. And the problem with intuition and all this is it's only about you. You can only pull through what you make yourself available on a vibrational level. And as soon as you start trying to outside influence somebody else's vibration, where your area of influence is minimal, your energy around people has an influence. People can feel it. You can walk into a room where people are angry and you can feel it, and you can choose to get angry very quickly and join that, or you can choose to separate yourself from it. So there's a field of influence for sure, but that's all you have. You can't directly insert and say, like, if Joe was sick and he was really stuck in that vibration and feeling bad for himself and stuff, Jesus couldn't come in and heal Joe because Joe's not in a place to do that.
So what about people that do like distant healing?
But again, it's about, so what they're doing is they're sending the energy out to the person. Usually with distant healing, it's been requested by the receiver. So now if somebody sits down, is open to receive it, feels the energy.
What happens if they're not open to it? I mean, sometimes people, like family members, will request that we send healing to someone that's maybe in a coma or something like that. Do you think that healing will hit where it's supposed to hit and not necessarily deal with the person's interpretation of energy and all that other stuff?
No, I think
can a non-believer still accept it?
Oh, they can still accept it because it can still be, the field of influence can be felt. So the person's body, their cells can feel that energy and go towards that if there's not too much resistance from the person. Someone's in a coma, there's probably not a lot of active resistance. So in a situation like that, it actually might even be more powerful.
And I always suggest sending energy for somebody that you're not sure of, send it up to like that higher self, you know, because that higher self will determine if this is good energy or not. But I have to say, if I find that as energy practitioners, if you're sending energy without somebody's knowing, or you're sending in a way where, well, you know, I'm going to send my husband energy even though he doesn't believe it and thinks it's junk, because I want him to feel better and I want him to, I don't know, come home and do dishes or something. I find that it's the actual practitioner who actually feels the drain. So you want to have this open channel of energy of giving and receiving, because when you have somebody who's not in a receiving place, it actually
But the drain should only be there if you're expecting results. So if you give the intention
That's
for
right,
healing,
let it go.
that you want this person to be fixed this way, or you want their headache to go away, you want them to be healed of cancer.
You gotta
that's
let
what
it
drains
go.
it.
That's what they drain. And so
Right,
giving
so you
from
can't say I want this person's headache to go away so they can take me out.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then you're looking for something in return.
Yeah, because it's a karmic thing, right? And
It's
now you're
intention,
expending
yeah.
this energy for personal gain.
Well,
Right,
and I think
exactly.
even just beyond that, if you're giving it out of love, love doesn't care about the conditions.
Yeah.
So if you send it out of love, it doesn't matter if they get better or not. You know that they're receiving it.
Absolutely.
So if you're sending love to somebody,
With ulterior motives.
hoping that they get better, well, now it's not a pure love, because you're shifting the conditions that you want. It's not all accepting.
Yeah.
We think of human love as
But
what love is.
If you
but
send
it's-
love hoping that they have less pain and suffering, and you're sending and you want to see compassion for them, I mean, that's the intention. Let it go. Don't say, "Oh, I want to see you send love so that they get better, so that they can be in my life longer." That might be a little bit selfish, or.
But also remember that that's a slightly more humanized version of love, because love accepts all.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And by feeling that love, the idea is that they'll feel it become more in alignment with who they are. And as they come more in alignment with who they are, they open themselves up to receiving that healing that's always present for you.
Right.
Your body naturally heals itself. It's only our resistance and our blockages that cause you not to be well. So it does have that effect, you know. But it's when you have to have an outcome, when you have to have a certain outcome.
Or you're attached to
You're attached,
of the
like you
final
said.
result.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yep.
You got to let it go. It's like, what's the expression? Like, when you give a gift, you give a gift. You don't want to receive anything in return. Otherwise, it's not a gift.
Yeah.
You know how many times people put attachments to it? Oh, I gave this person something for this birthday,
And now
they owe me. I never got anything back.
Yeah.
You know,
That happit's a lot.
that's horrible. That's not a
Yeah.
gift.
Yeah.
That's extortion.
Well, and it's also, but it's also emphasizing the separateness of everything. So you step into the non-truth of it. You step into the non-truth of a situation. The further you step from the truth, the further you step from your power. So as soon as you expect to get something back, you disempower yourself. It doesn't really affect the other person. It affects you.
So the recommendation would be
point.
really, when you want to share energy with somebody or do something distantly or work with them in some way, before you do, check in with your intentions, like making sure that they're pure in a way that regardless of what happens, this is for their interest or best highest interest or best and highest good. Should somebody set that intention before they?
Yeah. When I do healing, I just focus on knowing their wellness and knowing that everything's okay, everything's perfect as it is, and knowing that as soon as they release their blockages to it, that wellness and healing's coming to them. And hopefully my field of influence of knowing the wellness that's coming to them is enough to trigger them to feel the energy or feel something that makes them just kind of ease up a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's all it takes, is that little bit of
Crack.
letting go.
Yeah.
So when I do energy work, my intention is always to open space for them to receive. So I feel like my job is, by giving the energy, I see myself as opening up space in a way that's clearing any old beliefs, old ways of doing things, so they have more clarity about how to better improve their life. So, I know with some energy workers, people go and they want answers. What's going on with my body? How come I'm feeling this? But I always found, like, when I've done energy work, it's more about holding space. And because I believe truly in the power of healing, self-healing, and the power of this energy, I think, like, my belief in that unconditional love and my faith in, regardless of what happens, they're going to receive a healing in some way, I believe opens up their ability to get clarity and insight. And when they leave, they make better choices, right? They make better decisions. They make the changes in their life, right? So for me, it's almost like creating space, a bubble to clear out all the junk that might be clouding there, like dust. You know when you dust, you still see the object, but it gets like matted and muted. And once you dust something, now it's got shine and pristine to it, right? So I find with energy work, that's my intention going into it, as opposed to healing somebody or, you know, getting some results of like something specific.
She takes out the buffer. Cleans them up,
I
because you
do.
because that stuff will clog.
Debris, like,
dust or any of that stuff will clog up your system. And if you're trying to get healing or whatever it is, it's just extra stuff you carry. It's like mini baggage or something, you know. So that's great, just giving them space and cleaning all that stuff out, so that whatever energy you're working with.
And really, I mean,
hold.
I'm just holding space. I'm allowing the energy to flow freely and not really putting any limitations or expectations of what it is, but yet people have more clarity. People have actually releases on the table, you know, insights about things. And, you know, I always say, I'm here to support you in any way. If you want to share, if you want to talk, or you just want to zone out, it's up to you. And I think as like a healer, I think that's a beautiful thing, because I think a lot of people may poo-poo that energy. Somebody like me who is an intuitive, who works with energy often, I benefit from receiving regular energy therapy treatment. So I will go regularly to receive Reiki myself, and I have to say, I just feel so much better. So there are some sensitive, intuitive people out there who really benefit from energy work and just receiving this.
I need some. No, I do, because you know, you're right. You got to kind of do a tune-up, because we work with that energy all the time. Let alone someone that's just, you know, coming once in a while. We deal with it, so I gotta get my chakras in order.
That's funny, because my wife was having back pain, and you know, and she would always sometimes have pain from where she had the shot when she gave birth, you know. So she'd feel that in her spine, and she had really bad back pain for a while, and I kind of said to her, I was like, I don't think you've been doing the same energy work that you used to do. Because when I first met her, she used to have a lot of pain in her back. And then she started working with it and understanding like the Kundalini energy and how that moves, and her pain went away. And so I kind of mentioned that to her, and then a few weeks later, she kind of came back and she's like, it's like, oh, I came up with this great idea, joking with me, of course, that I should start, you know, getting more into that energy work. She's like, oh, my back pain's gone. Wow. You know, so for her, what she was feeling was not moving the energy like she used to. So she was starting to feel the buildup, the blockages that were causing, you know, physical pain in her.
Yeah. So really, different people will resonate to different types of energies. So somebody like me who works with energy a lot needs more of that, like let's say that type of energy to clear out, as opposed to maybe somebody who, you know, isn't working in energy like that. Or is it vice versa?
Each person's individual. I think it just depends.
Yeah, because you could be working subconsciously, you know, with the energy, even though it might, you might not think, you know, you might have someone doing mediumistic readings, but they're also connecting on an energy level that they need to get a tune-up, you know. It's how you feel. Yeah. You know, like we know you're supposed to take care of your body because it just works better with the energy, and, you know, that's all connected, and, you know, so that we know that's important. So we also need to take care of our energetic, you know, energetic
and it's
feels.
so important to check in with your intuition and your gut to see how you feel about the person you're working with. So for me specifically, I know that my body responds better to people who are attuned to energy work. So I've had many different kinds of massages, but the absolute best ones I've had have been people who are also either attuned to Reiki, that do energy work, and really the awful ones that I've had are people who aren't attuned to energy. So I know a difference between the energy that they're using, people who are coming from a place of love, genuinity in that space, but I know that's what I need, you know, so I always encourage people to check in with the person, and if it didn't resonate with you once, don't cancel the whole thing out, because I think people will do that, like, that didn't work for me, or that I didn't feel right. Well, it may be the person that you were working with. They might have not have been in good space. It might not be a vibrational match. There's so much more. But I think that's with anything. What's that saying? If you don't succeed once, try again, kind of thing, right? And I think people give up too easily on this type of work because it's not concrete. It's not something that they can actually see.
And then also, I think being the next thing for someone that's receiving any kind of mediumship, muscle work, any kind of thing, is being honest with yourself about what you want. Do you want to go into a massage so that you're actually getting better? And it might be there's a massage therapist that me and Alana go to that beats the crap out of you, and it hurts, but you actually get better afterwards. Or do you want to go and get rubbed down and feel good for an hour and then have pain afterwards? Do you want to go to a medium who's really connecting on a powerful level? Or do you want to go to somebody that's going to tell you what you want to hear?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because we've had people
Expectations.
come to the church for psychic fairs, and they go to 3 different people until they get someone that tells them what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And the other 2 weren't good, even though the other 2 are giving them great information.
Yeah.
It's just not what they wanted.
That's a great example.
It's true. We see it a
It's
lot.
your expectations.
Yep.
And your expectations can really skew the whole energy or the reading, or so you gotta leave that stuff at the door.
Your perception's your reality. So someone that goes to that massage therapist that just wanted to feel good for an hour, just had the light touch and everything, they kind of come away saying that was an awful experience. This person doesn't know what they're doing. They hurt me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the light touch. I've had them both.
Yeah, and
It depends.
It depends on what you want.
It depends on what you like, right?
I like the idea that when I leave, I've got a couple of weeks where I feel really good because the muscles were really loosened up and everything let go. But during it, it's like
Hurts.
you're sitting there saying, "Oh God, how much longer do I have left on this
I've had
thing?"
that. You want to cry, but you don't. You can't do that.
Exactly.
Oh my God, you want to scream, but well, they're different. And there are different massage modalities. So I mean, some people want a sports massage, someone wants a Swedish massage.
Yep.
Sometimes they just need to de-stress for that hour that will last actually for a few days.
Yep.
But getting back to basics, it's your intentions. What do
Exactly.
you want when you go in?
What are you looking to receive?
Right. And then let it go. But
And you got to be honest with yourself about that in every part of your life. When you go into a relationship, what do you do? What do you want to receive? Do you want somebody that, like the woman that says like, "Oh, I want the nice guy," but they keep going for the jerk,
right.
or the person who goes into a relationship not really wanting a mutual relationship, but just wanting someone to spend all their attention on them so that they feel good,
Right.
and not really wanting a mutual beneficial relationship that's healthy.
Right. The person doesn't want to be alone, so they'll hook up with someone and that's totally, not in the same energy. I hate using that word, but in the same, space as they are, just so that they have someone.
Yep.
And then they kind of live in as well.
Yeah.
So, you have to, and that comes back to work on yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
If you can be happy with yourself, then you can bring that into a relationship and know if it's a good fit.
You got to know who you are. You
Right.
really got to
Yeah.
put the time into to know what who am I now? Who do I choose to be? And then what steps get me there?
And I've been working with that a lot lately with myself and clients in general, where I think people get caught up on details, like loving myself and going into this self-care, but yet they compare it to what they're doing, their job, who they're with, things like that. And so I've really been trying to shift it for myself and asking myself, okay, I may not have had experiences of that kind of love that my soul desires. So I have to go into the place of like, how do I want to feel?
Yep.
Instead of, I don't know what kind of person I want because this keeps coming up in my life and I recognize this keeps coming up in my life, but this is all I've had. So instead of saying, well, I want this person with this characteristics and that does this, because that vibration is still there of the old, for me, it's like I'm now shifting and saying, instead of, like I said, the details or the job or the specifics, how do I want to feel in a relationship? I want to feel like I feel now. Beautiful, loved, special, happy. And then I think the key to it is allowing yourself to feel those things, right? And with people who aren't, let's say, loving themselves because of old beliefs, conditions, patterns, things that people have told them in the past, they've attached to, I'm not this, I'm not that, right? And continue to attract that. But it's hard sometimes. Like, let's say for love, for example, if somebody wants like that love vibration that we see, like let's say Tony Robbins and Sage, right? They've got a beautiful relationship. They go through stuff, they share it, but yet for somebody who's never
As far as you
experienced
know,
that, right?
From an outside perspective.
Exactly. So I know how that type of relationship makes me feel, and how I want to feel in something like that, right? So sometimes, like, we need examples, because that's not something I had. Like, I didn't have the father figure growing up. Men wasn't something that was prominent in my life, but yet I have this deep desire to connect with and be in a relationship like that. But my question is, like, when you've never experienced it, right? Sometimes energy can come in with the illusion of what you want, but still carry that old vibrational match.
Yeah, well, and also sometimes it can come in one way, and then you fall back on what you expect a relationship to be, and then it shifts back into what it was before.
It's like bad
So
habits.
that's that self-love, right? Because then what happens is you start to compromise your own beliefs and what you want, and fall into that space again, right? So,
And I think one thing that's important, and especially in a situation like you, so you're someone who didn't have a father figure growing up.
had a history of bad, unhealthy relationships.
And you're just someone that does healing work during the day.
Yeah.
So you position yourself as being someone who's a healer who
Interesting.
doesn't have a strong connection with a powerful, positive male figure. So even if you get into a relationship that starts out where you want, it's really easy for you to bring the healer part into the relationship,
To fix and
to
say-
fall into that old stuff. And so what you actually might see is you start falling back on your old habits, projecting that outward, and then if the person
Is sensitive.
has a history of that too,
It
they
brings it
feel
up.
your projection. Well, they might feel your projection and easily fall back into where they were.
Gotcha.
So while you both could have stayed in that place of a powerful love beyond what you've had in the past, it can be easy to fall into that.
And I think that's-
everybody does it.
I think that's so important to bring up, because people are doing it unconsciously.
Oh yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
And that
And-
happens even with me. In my marriage, it's like there are times where I fall back on old Nathan habits, and it's like I catch myself, and it's usually something else is going on in my life, where I get sick or something else, and then I fall back on the old habits of
Yeah.
being insecure and all that.
Yeah.
And it's like I got to stop and pull myself out and say, wait a second, just because Solomon was sick for 2 weeks and I was really nervous about that doesn't mean my finances have to go to shit and I have to get, self-conscious about myself and project that on my relationship, and because that's happened before. And it's like, you pull myself out and realize, oh, that was stupid.
Yeah.
But in the moment, when something else doesn't go right, it's easy to
Get sucked into it.
follow that vibration.
And that's it's
know?
important to address too, but because the thing is, like, you know yourself, you know the way you want to feel,
Yes.
and you know what it feels like to feel good, and whatever relationship, work, whatever experience you're in. So the second you don't feel that, you're able to shift it. And I think that's where the idea of self-love comes in. Self-love, I mean, people beat the topic up, self-love, but I don't think they really get to the core, the heart of what self-love really means. It's respect for yourself. It's what your boundaries are. It's how you want to feel. And the people around you that are helping you, working in that energy or not, right? And then deciding, as much as I love this person, or I love this job, or I love this experience, it's starting to change on me, and going within and saying, okay, where can I shift it, and how do I want to feel in all these situations? Do you know what I mean? So could you say that your awareness of falling back into old Nathan was based on how you were feeling?
Yeah. Well, 'cause at some point you start looking and saying, like, wait, why are all these things starting to fall apart? And then you catch yourself and say, oh, they're not, but I'm projecting this energy out, and your perception is your reality. And I think, there was someone that one class that asked, about relationship stuff, and I said, look, I'm going to be honest with you. There was a person that had issues with mental health and drinking and stuff, and it was one of the first classes I taught, and she asked about it, and I said, look, you can be perfectly happy in this relationship and thrive in it, and allow them to be who they are, and not let that affect how you feel. It's like, But if you can't be there, you can also know that you keep getting pulled out by the situation that this person's in, and realize that because I'm not in a place where I love myself enough to be so powerful that the outside and those other person's actions don't bother me, then you need to make a change to pull yourself away from it, so you can get to the point where you love yourself enough that the actions of someone else don't pull you out. You know, and you know, some people hearing that were just kind of shocked, like saying like, oh, you mean like my spouse can do anything and I could still be happy? And I was like, well, you can be, yes. Most people aren't there, and I can't say that I'm there all the time, but I can get there at points. And it's understanding that if you can't get to that point where your self-love and self-worth is so powerful in every moment, then you need to pull yourself away from that relationship, from that experience.
It's true, because that other person can be so in their place that it becomes like a tug of war, right? Like, oh, I'm going to be really positive, well, I'm going to be really negative, and you have to make that decision. Like, wait a minute, let me take a step back and see how I feel without this even job, person, family member, friend around, you know. And I think the empowering part is knowing that you can leave a situation. And I always suggest a plan, an idea, a thought pattern, a vibration. I want to feel secure, I want to feel supported, I want to feel safe. But I think the big thing is, I think people feel trapped in situations because that's a condition that they've learned. And I think being able to know that if you're not a vibrational match for something, or you can't stay in good space in this energy, that you can leave. Like, you can leave, and the universe will support you in that. Things will come into alignment when you say, I am worthy and deserving of better, more, you know, having that feeling inside, that totally shifts energy, and then doors open another way. You know, that person who has a house might have like a tenant that moves out, or, you know, somebody might have an extra room or something. But I think people get caught up in the blame. You're the reason why. I think that's a big part of it, is it's so easy to say, well, you're the reason why this is happening to me, and the victim and the blame. And I think we all need to take responsibility for what is happening in our lives.
It's a part of giving your power away when you say, I can't be happy because of what you're doing. You know, and
that's just an excuse.
It is, because the only one that controls how you feel is you.
Right.
You know, and you can have.
And it is easier said than done. It's something that you have to be consciously aware of.
Yeah, and the thing is, even the greatest masters aren't completely present all the time. You know, like, I don't think when Jesus was being hung on the cross that he was at his most present moment. You know what I mean? You wouldn't yell out, why have you forsaken me, if you're in a point where you are actually connected in understanding. So I think that people need to understand that it's not like your spiritual growth is one direction. You're like, I learned this, I'm at the next step, now I'm at the next step. Within any instant, you can be completely connected, and then the next instant you can be completely not connected. Right,
because you live in the human experience, and that's part of the balance.
Exactly.
You can't always be up there and because that's where you came from, that's where you're going back. There's a reason why we're here at this plane, so you're never going to have that perfect, you know, like you say, you build it up, oh, I'm on this level, this level, this level. You're going to come down once in a while, because that's what we're supposed to do.
Because you would have stayed there if you just wanted to be there all the time.
We wouldn't be
here. You came here for a reason.
Right.
Exactly. Hi, everybody. If you like what you watched, please subscribe on YouTube and like us on Facebook. And check out our website at alwaysconsiderthesource.com.
Hey, if you want us to come out to your location and do a live setup, we'd love to do that. Continue to send in your questions, and we look forward to interacting with you.
And remember, always consider the source.